we haven't really seen you do too much in the lead into this. What's kind of the story behind that?
Just a bit of sort of workload management at the moment, just managing Achilles' little niggle. So bowled a fair bit leading into the tour at home, and sort of pushing up against it, and it probably wasn't recovering as well as I would have liked between each session. So just thought we'd give it a few days here, straight off the bat, and then try and get over the hump and have a bowl from Tuesday on, and hopefully it goes well.
Are you pretty confident you'll be right for selection for the first test?
Not sure about the first test. It's still a few days away, but it's sneaking up pretty quickly. So the second one's obviously straight after as well. So yeah, we'll play it by ear over the next week and next few days, and hopefully Tuesday goes well.
Right, that must be frustrating for you, Josh. Your last 12, 18, 24 months have been a few injuries there.
Yeah, it's been frustrating. Achilles is sort of it's a hard one to being a tendon. It's sort of a couple of steps forward, one step back occasionally, which is sort of how it goes, for everyone when they've got this type of injury. But yeah, it feels like it's heading the right direction. So the last few days have been really good. Got some good work into it, and then yeah, we'll have a run around on Tuesday.
Was there a particular? I mean, you said it was kind of in that bowling between tours or whatever it was. Was there a particular session that it kind of happened at?
Oh, it's still lingering from the test match probably. There was sort of. We obviously bowled after a lot of rain as well, and the jump ups were quite soft where we're taken off from, and they ended up replacing them as well. And it sort of worked to a degree, but just that extra load jumping out of a soft ground to bowl. And again, first test match back, it's sort of your body's not quite used to that sort of workload as well. So yeah, a bit frustrating playing one test at a time. It always feels the hardest test to play, the first one, and then they sort of get easier as they go, and then you get on the other side at the end of the series and it gets hard again. So hopefully string a couple together on this tour.
But does it begin to add up in your head, Josh, like mentally as well? Like when you play a test and this happens, and how do you kind of keep pushing that thought out of your head? What's very important?
I think just through experience. I've played a lot of cricket, and I've always played. Yeah, every fast bowler plays with injuries and misses games here or there. So it's just about that, working hard on that particular thing at the time and getting over it, and then trying to get through a couple of sessions, string a few sessions together, and play another game. So yeah, it's sort of part and parcel with fast bowling. So don't think too much about it.
And before the Sydney test, you spoke about how like your focus is purely on squarely on playing a lot of test cricket, regardless of what you have to put your body through. So where do you stand with that now? Like you might be doubtful for some.
Yeah, I think it's still the same mindset. It's about taking every game as it comes. It's obviously a huge tour, and it's a long tour as well. It's 4 test matches, so it's not a 2-test test series where you might push things to try and get up for it. So 4 tests is a long time, and the Ashes is there as well, and there's cricket all the time. So it's just about getting it right. You don't want it lingering around for months on end. So that's the main thing at the moment.
Did you, I think you said towards the end of last, or when you had the most recent injury, I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but you were talking about the kind of reviewing your workload and stuff, and how you might manage that around T20 one-day cricket at the end of the summer. Did you actually get the chance to kind of do that with all the sports science guys?
Yeah, definitely. Chat with guys at Cricket Australia, Cricket New South Wales. You sort of work with both. Probably more so on tour with the guys here like Jonesy and Kells. So just to getting a plan together, and yeah, it's probably about short-term loss, long-term gain a lot of the time. So it's in things like that. You got a T20 World Cup or an IPL or a one-day series. It's about still ticking those boxes off the field to then be ready to go for a test series. And it might hurt that particular series. You might not be 100% or close to it, but in the long term, you might be better placed for an Ashes or for a home test summer. So it's just about summing up what's right and how much you can do.
And given how well you've gone in T20 cricket over the last 24 months, has there ever been a temptation to kind of think about letting test cricket slide a little bit?
Definitely not. No. I think as fun as T20 is, and as lucrative sometimes as it is, I find it plays second fiddle to test cricket. This series, Ashes series, home summers are what you play cricket for, and I don't think that'll ever change.
But does it the fact that it is a really busy year, does that give you more hope than the fact even if you miss out on these two test matches, still two more in
Mm.
India. The Ashes, the World Test Championship, and Juggernaut never stops.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the view that I've always had. Probably during COVID, it was a bit different. It felt like we played home 5 test matches and then didn't play for a long time, for a couple of years there, and it was like a big push to play all those games in a row. I think whereas now, especially we've got some good depth as well, we can, if you're not quite right, you can miss out a test and make sure you're 100% for the next one or close to it. So I think it's team mentality, especially team within the team is the quick. So I think that view will be taken into the Ashes, into this tour, World Test Championship, home summer. So there's so many test matches coming up. As you mentioned, it might be a little bit easier to sort of get right for the second one onwards here, and we'll push on.
Just about the series, Josh, I mean, you nailed it with the reverse swing in Sydney, and you're really getting it to go. And no Mitch Stark, and potentially no you for the first two tests. Pat Cummins was getting it to go as well. But just can you talk about Scott Boland and potentially others who come in and where they are with their reverse swing?
Yeah, it was really good to play that Sydney Test beforehand, just to, I guess focus in on what's going to be important in this series. The wicket was obviously slow, it was dry, it was a little bit abrasive when we got reverse swing, so great to have that coming into this tour. And then I think Scotty's bowled plenty at the MCG when it was a flat wicket, probably didn't even swing or reverse swing, so he knows how to work hard for a long period of time. Got Lance Morris, who's worked really hard on reverse swing the last probably month, I reckon, and a nice lead in here with a few sessions. So I think the guys are excited, first of all, to play a test in the subcontinent. They both haven't yet, so that's first of all, and then I think they're very well qualified to do so.
And just finally from me, we played the last series in 2017. How much of fast bowling in these conditions is about just having a plan and just sticking to it, regardless of what the match situation is or condition is? And is that the way this fast bowling group would be approaching the series as well?
Yeah, I think there's definitely times that you're sort of a holding bowler, and then there's definitely times when you can attack. I think we saw that in Sydney as well, when the ball wasn't really shifting at all. We held, control the scoring rate, the spinners attack, and then once it starts reversing, then you sort of go on the attack a bit, and the spinners might play a defensive role. So it was certainly different, when I first played the Subcontinent Test match, and spinners are the main bowlers and you're sort of playing second fiddle. I was always used to being in Australia and it being vice versa. So I think Scotty and Lance and whoever gets a crack will definitely understand that. And it's different, but it's good fun.
Well, good case. Thanks so much.
Sweet, easy.